There's a lot of attention being paid right now, both locally and nationally, to building our economy through technology.
Startup America, for example. Of course, with the arrival of Google Fiber, it's been a particularly hot topic in Kansas City lately.
While tech companies have been popping up all across the metro, there's a noticeable cluster developing in the vicinity of downtown and the Crossroads. We take you inside 3 tech startups to show you more of what the scene looks like these days.
Today, the 6-story structure just south of the downtown loop is standing empty. But within the year, it will become home to a rising young company with big aspirations, whose product is regularly evaluated just a few miles away. Anytime that 19,000 fans gather to watch Kansas City's hottest sports franchise in action is also a time that Asim Pasha anticipates greatly.
This is the night I've been looking forward to because this is about the energy, the excitement, the experience that we're going to put together today. I'm absolutely ready.
But it's more than just the game on the field that Asim and his son are watching. As Sporting KC's tech guru, he's in charge of all the digital extras that make this one of the world's most innovative sports venues.
I have people sitting in the control room back there because like when I walk around, people say, hey, Sim, this is not working, and they get going on it.
At the core of it all is the wireless network they've installed out here. HD Wi-Fi. 200 routers around the park that ensure constant connectivity to deliver the kind of interactive fan experience they believe today's ticket buyers have come to expect. This technology everywhere approach has a name, Fan 360. And Sporting Innovations, the tech startup within the sports club, is selling it to clients worldwide. Fan 360 is an integrated software platform covering ticket sales to targeted ads, concession specials to video on demand. All this interactivity tracked and monitored on site in what they called the command center, then analyzed and refined before the next game rolls around. High-tech innovators taking an idea and making something from it is nothing new for the Metro. Fortune 500 companies like Sprint, Garmin, and Cerner all started here and stayed. In fact, 2 of Sporting's owners, Cliff Illig and Neil Patterson, came from the IT realm.
Obviously, their backgrounds in creating Cerner and being very disruptive in the healthcare IT space was something that they challenged us around the sports side and said, you know, we've got this really great living lab, we've got this opportunity that's different than really any other sports team out there, so let's go after it.
This is a map of the venue, so you can like pinch and zoom, right? You may not care about ATMs, but you might care where a bathroom is. You might care where a handicap access is. You might care where a certain restaurant is or where you can buy beer.
Hi, what can I get you?
To really deliver an experience on mobile that you want, we have to know a lot about you and learn a lot about you. And that data is key for us to be able to do that.
A different fan or a different day or a different
Like the
game.
average age of Sporting's season ticket holders, 29, the workforce here skews young. They know what their peers want, and they're tech savvy enough to spot cutting-edge ways to deliver it best.
You know, like if we have the final 3 days of prod testing, we wanted that information in prod.
They're the people who understand how they do it, and they understand the generation better than anybody else does. I think it's the right way to go after it.
Do you look at other sporting franchises and think, you guys are dinosaurs?
Yes, but I don't want to mention that.
Because there's some very established industry players who look at the industry a certain way, and the change is not in their mantra yet. But believe it or not, they're changing too. The baby boomers are moving out. The new generation that's being raised, they don't understand the world of paper and pencil. This industry is ripe for innovation at its roots.
In less than 2 years, Fan 360 is playing in 15 venues from Germany to Brazil. And Sporting's expanding here at home as well, investing $20 million on the edge of the Crossroads to renovate the old Hanna Rubber building, where, as it turns out, soccer balls were once manufactured.
We wanted a place that we thought could be attractive to the sort of demographic that we're looking for within our company. You know, just spending some time down here in the Crossroads as we have over the course of the last year and a half, it's been really energizing for our people. And for me, it kind of reminds me of the days of being back in San Francisco and Chicago and places like that. So I like it personally, but I also know that our associate population is really fond of this environment, so we wanted to do everything we could to foster that.
Growing up on the internet, you think about the world very differently. Everyone's connected.
Adam Arredondo, one of the team members at KC Startup Village, is part of that next generation of entrepreneurs. Nimble, collaborative, not afraid to fail. It's no coincidence that many find a fit within the city's creative core and the co-working spaces that have begun to pop up.
With Officeport, with Think Big, which is just 2 blocks over, the heartbeat started. Now it's kind of spreading.
Kansas City is blessed with a downtown ringed by affordable spaces, where a number of high-tech neighborhoods have emerged. West Bottoms, River Market, and across state line. Not only innovating, but interacting. Through programs like the Kauffman Foundation's 1 Million Cups.
What's the plan to bridge the gap?
Bill Gates has a program
where these weekly Wednesday meetups get people with ideas percolating together.
6 months away from
In just 8 months, attendance has risen from 12 to nearly 200.
Eventually you get to the point where you're walking down the street and you see other innovators, other startup guys. Those meetings, those unplanned meetings are kind of what lead to great ideas, what lead to partnerships, what lead to collaboration.
The wild card here, of course, is Google Fiber. In a city that's learning how to change its view of economic development from building buildings to developing talent, Google's potential is enormous. And it's kept Mike Burke working overtime to make sure we take full advantage while we can.
We have a window of time where we have a competitive advantage over the rest of the world.
Kansas City is our first city. Congratulations.
Just having high-speed fiber doesn't get you where you need to go. It's what we as a community can come together to make happen.
Something like Launch KC, a new initiative from the city's EDC and the Downtown Council, offering some real-world tools to equip young businesses in the tech sector, with things like reduced rent, access to Wi-Fi and mentoring, even a proof of concept center. Building the next Silicon Valley won't happen overnight, but with each success comes more momentum.
We're very much a supportive community. Everyone knows how hard it is to break through and have that big break. And when somebody else does, it's kind of a win for the whole scene.
This city is rocking right now.
It's been just over a year since the company throwing this party, the software startup RareWire, relocated from Prairie Village to the Crossroads to plunge into the business of building mobile apps.
This is a $100 billion market that hardly existed 3, 4, 5 years ago. It's almost like the next big tech boom that happened in the 90s. It's happening again related to mobile, and we're knee-deep in the middle of it.
It was a leap of faith. We thought that even though there was some risk involved, it was the right time to do it.
The right time, thanks to the arrival of the iPad back in 2009. Matt Angel, who'd been teaching himself iOS, ended up inventing a new computer language called Wire. Then he and Kirk started targeting certain industries, like publishing, they felt might benefit from it.
The pitch was going to be, send us a PDF file and we'll turn it into an app in 24 hours. And within, I think it was about 20 minutes, he got a call back from The Atlantic, and they were basically saying, I don't believe that you can do what you're saying that you can do, but it sounds too good to be true, we'll take you up on it.
It gave us a lot of instant credibility, and we actually ended up winning a few awards for that. So that really jump-started our company.
Like lots of local startups with little access to venture capital, RareWire is self-funded, with help from family and friends. Their goal is to add 40 jobs over the next 5 years, part of a state incentive program intended to stimulate the economy. But right now, they're most excited about their newest product, the App Creation Studio, a software platform built around Wire, an interface that lets a designer like Erica Berkman more quickly play programmer too.
Yeah,
sounds like you're telling
I'm
me
the poster child for it.
The creative boom taking place here has given new life to the old warehouses and factories that grew up around Union Station, a portal where thousands pass through every day. Today, these familiar faces are here to stay. And to celebrate SiteDeck, the first startup to accept LaunchKC's promise of affordable space. In this marble monument to the past, they say the future, of teleconferencing at least, awaits us upstairs.
When people are starting to experience SiteDeck, they're just like, wow, this is amazing. We've never seen such a thing.
So forget PowerPoint and problems with stage fright. SiteDeck says their system can make a polished performer out of just about any teacher, sales manager, or CEO.
It's a special camera which can observe infrared image, so person standing on the front of the screen is not blind. The second element is a special engine. It's a hardware solution. And of course, there's a screen. It's like a big iPad, 6 foot by 11 foot, and it's developed totally by IMAT company.
Do a nice double tap, we'll grow it up a little bit more.
What you have to realize is the man on the screen is not in the room. That's Paul Vlahos. His LA-based company IMAT has made green screen technology an integral part of TV and film for decades.
There are some shots which must be created by image compositing in post-production.
What used to require a full-fledged TV studio can now be done from a conference room.
Well, I want to welcome you to Kansas City. Can we have the...
Paul may be talking from the coast.
What am I pointing at?
The Adobe Photoshop.
Just check it.
But we can still touch, point, play, even fist bump the same graphics and visual details in real time from up to 4 different locations.
I come from a different kind of business than most people like at Cisco or Tandberg. Our orientation is from building tools that are used by the entertainment industry.
Putting out some Hollywood magic to make meetings more lively was the original plan for SiteDeck.
We're looking at the exact same file, so I can come over here.
But already Paul's vision for it is beginning to broaden, thanks to discussions with Kansas City companies like HNTB.
Constantly looking for new technologies to help us.
Who see an incredible tool for architects and engineers. That kind of freewheeling give and take, which can ultimately make a product more commercially viable, should soon become even more common here at the station, thanks to the new digital sandbox proof of performance center that UMKC's Block School is about to open. The festivities drew what could only be called an A-list crowd.
And I can tell by the energy in this room that no one here needs to be sold on the importance of this unique, innovative project.
A $1 million I-6 Challenge grant got all this started, part of the federal push to build an economy that will last. Though at this point it's largely symbolic, shifting the focus here from transportation to innovation sends serious signals that for Kansas City, tech is becoming more than just talk.
My nightmare is waking up in 3 or 4 years and seeing Austin, Chicago, Denver are now Google cities, and that Kansas City didn't take full advantage of what it had. What we've accomplished nationally in terms of taking advantage of it can be the template for the rest of the country.